Okay, so I showed you how to draw the building, how to add doors, how to add windows. Now let's look at adding signs to our building. How do we label our buildings? Well, on the front, it's very easy to label your building. So let's make a label. Maybe this building right here. I think this building is going to be a, let's say it's a bookstore. Okay, it's a bookstore. So what I would want to do is I'd want to add my door and window. Okay, so let's add some doors and windows. Make it parallel. Make it parallel. Make my door. Okay, I'm not completely finished with my doors, but the objective of this video is to show you how to add a sign. So I'd want to add my doors first, and then usually signs go above doors. Sometimes signs are written on doors, but as you can see, my door is awfully small. That would be kind of hard for you to be able to see the label of the building or the name of the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a larger rectangle, just like when I started off making my block windows over here, and that's what I'm going to use to make my sign. Okay, so I'm going to line this up parallel, and I'm going to come in. Now maybe I'm going to add some more doors later. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to run a sign all the way across the building, because that's usually how signs are. Or they're centered over the door or something along those lines. But this building, it's just going to be a bookstore. So I'm going to make my sign by using a longer rectangle, just as if I was going to add windows to my building. So there's my rectangle. Now, if my name is short, I could put it in there just like that. I'm going to call this I'm going to call it the Reading Railroad Library, I think, or the Reading Railroad Bookstore. So I need to have more than one line, I think, for being able to write. So I'm going to divide this, again, making some parallel lines, so that way I can have multiple lines to write on. So maybe I'll have a line for the, I'll center the word the, and then maybe I'll have a line for Reading Railroad, and then I'll have another line for the word bookstore. So I have my lines divided. Now what I want to do is I want to write my words. Let me bring this in a little bit closer so you can just really focus on that. So if I write sloppily, it probably isn't going to show a very good sign. As you can see, I've been taking care to make sure that everything else is nice and neat. So if writing isn't your strong suit, if it looks really sloppy, even when you try, I would highly recommend getting another scrap piece of paper and practice writing the names of the buildings. So that way you can write neatly, okay? So I'm going to turn this, because I always turn my paper when I write, and I'm going to put the word the, I'm going to center it, and I want to write in my best handwriting, okay? So the, oops, my H is a little big. Let me fix that. So the, now I want Reading Railroad. So Reading Railroad. And then I want the word bookstore. Okay, so I used neat handwriting Remember, if you can't write neatly, then you should take some time and really work on practicing that first, okay? If you can write neatly, well, make sure that you're just taking your time and, writing as neat as you can. So, I have one building labeled. Now, if you are a sixth grader, it is optional for you to label your buildings, although I highly recommend that you do label them. If you are a seventh grader, it is required that you label your buildings. So it's one of your things that you're going to be graded on. So we all know how much we want to not lose any points for not including a requirement for our project. So now we have one more step done.